That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Angel of Mine, which opens August 30th, directed by Kim Farrant. It's an Australian remake of a 2008 French film called L'Empreinte de l'Ange, Mark of an Angel.
Oh, 2008.
Yeah.
I thought the original looked like it was from the 90s.
Yes.
I liked it, but
So I saw that at the Toronto Film Festival in 2008 when it came out, and I just made you, in anticipation of watching this, I made you watch the original.
Yes.
Which stars Catherine Fro and Sandrine Bonnaire, who are two grand dames of French cinema, and it's directed by Safi Nabou, who isn't a very well-known French director, but he did have a Juliette Binoche film this year called Who You Think I Am. That was interesting. So it's not very well-known, and this English language remake stars Noomi Rapace.
So Angel of Mine is not a shot-for-shot remake. However, the basic story is a woman becomes fixated on a 7-year-old girl who she believes is the daughter she was told died in a fire during her childbirth.
Yes.
So,
yeah. So I wanted you to watch the original even before we saw this, because I knew that the tone was going to be completely different. Because the original is the very subtle, very French melodrama.
So the original, the English title is Mark of an Angel. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Mark of an Angel I did like because it is subtle.
And Catherine Fro
she does an amazing. Even the other lady,
Sandrine Bonnaire, is great too.
They both do an excellent job. It's subtle. It's frustrating. It's sad.
It's supposedly based on a true story.
Yes. So when I understood there was a remake, my initial concern was it would be a little more sensational, which it
is, yeah. And Noomi, as the mother of the dead child, is portrayed as kind of crazy and mentally unbalanced. Like this is set up more as like almost like a Fatal Attraction.
The mom in the original is also like, it is established she has some emotional stress. So,
sure.
Well, I'm just going to go down my list. So first off, Luke Evans plays her ex-husband. They broke up after the death of their daughter because of the effect it had on them.
And they have a son.
They have a 12-year-old son who is clearly being neglected by his mother. So Luke Evans is kind of like the stronger parent. I thought the casting of Luke Evans as Noomi Rapace's,
I think it's pronounced Rapace.
Noomi Rapace's husband seemed interesting. Because in the original, her husband is sort of more normal.
Well, he's a much older man.
He's older, less attractive.
I think Michel Armand. But
okay. I didn't...
He's also very gruff with her.
He is.
All of the family scene, because it's her parent, Noomi's character is explained to be, they're in... Australia, but she's Swedish and English, and she speaks Swedish with her parents. But her parents and her ex-husband kind of gang up on her. There's these scenes of them intervening in her life that made my
that's an issue for me, which I'll get to. Okay. The next thing was, I don't think those kids, their son or the child who they believe is their daughter, or she believes is her daughter, I don't think either of them look like Luke Evans or Noomi Rapace.
No, and
that's a reference they keep.
They have pointed sequences where Noomi's looking in the mirror with this child and be like, "Don't we look alike?" And it's like, not really, actually.
Really don't.
Okay.
I think what I like so much about the original was the mother never comes unhinged. She's just frustrated and sad. So her behavior doesn't seem so crazy. It's frustrating, but it's not like insane. Whereas in this one, it seems like they're trying to make
it's like she's stalking her.
Yes, but then I wrote down like how it's funny how she can sort of pull it together when like her crazy's being satisfied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which just seems so convenient, and just the portrayal of this like hysterical woman, I didn't really appreciate.
Well, and I think we talked about this too, the meeting of the mothers where Catherine Fro comes out in the original, and they have a kind of matter of fact talk, whereas in this one it's a knockdown, punch me out.
The culmination, which we'll get to. Also, in the vein of like things being sensationalized, in addition to making the lead character more hysterical and crazy, they also add in a sex scene. She goes on a date and has sex with this man, which is like borderline like. It's uncomfortable because it almost seems like she's being violated, but she's the sexual aggressor. Mm-hmm. I didn't need that. Mm-hmm. So that felt like something that was added to just
kind of show her fractured mind.
I guess. I didn't need that. So getting back to the family tension, in the original, it's not, her ex he seems more sad for her, whereas in this one, like you said, Luke Evans' character is very gruff with her.
Yeah, he's always kind of the demeanor of like, you gotta get it together.
Which pits their son against her.
Yes.
Because he sees his dad frustrated with the mom. So, just a lot of extra tension that wasn't needed because the original is very subtle. And even with that subtlety and without the extra ingredients, it was a frustrating film to watch in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other woman in this, it's played by Yvonne Strahovski, who's an Australian actress who, she's in Handmaid's Tale on Hulu, which I haven't seen.
Okay.
But my frame of reference is she gives a pretty good performance in this movie called The Canyon from 2009, which...
She was fine.
She's fine. She doesn't have as much to do. And maybe that was a testament to Sandrine Bonnaire, too, in the original. Like, there was a lot more tension between them.
Also, in the original, the other mother, she plays it so, like, it's really a shock to find out that, in fact, she is lying in that. So the spoiler is that
it's true that this
girl is the undead daughter
was stolen from the hospital. There was a fire.
There was a fire.
This woman's baby died. She took somebody else's baby. It happened. Both mothers were there alone. Their husbands were not at the hospital that night, and it just was that kind of circumstance.
Right.
I wonder what year this really was set in, though. Also, because if the original was 2008, and
oh, you mean
when was this hospital fire?
Interesting. It just seems a mess. That's my biggest issue with the original is the ending. So the mother who stole the child is in like a near-death experience via a car accident, which prompts her to tell the truth. Mm-hmm. So she tells the other mother, like, yes, I did steal your baby.
Here you go.
And just gives her the 7-year-old girl, and the end of the movie is them walking away hand in hand, which obviously seems like ridiculous. Like there would need to be other steps. But as the audience, I understood like, this is not the end for them and it's complicated. So it's not like it ruined the film for me, but I didn't love the ending of the original. This one, I do like the ending better. Because
it gives you a little more closure.
A little more closure, and also, But, okay, so there's that. But my biggest issue with the film is just the premise. Because in the 2019 version, when she's asked, how do you know? She just says, like, I just feel it. I just feel it.
That said, Noomi's performance, I do like in this. I think she does a good job. She does a great job. And all these confrontation scenes, crying, her voice breaking, like she does seem a nervous wreck. She does, but if I didn't already know the story, I feel like I would just assume that she's this crazy, hysterical woman. Yeah, and that's how the script positions her. And which to me is like easy and boring. This adaptation was scripted by David Regal and Luke Davies, and Luke Davies was nominated for an Oscar for scripting Lion with Nicole Kidman and Dev Patel. Okay, which you didn't see. No, but also has in that movie is about the young man who. Using Google Maps, discovered where he was abandoned as a child. Oh, yes. But so I think Noomi does a good job. She does. I think the story's It's compelling. It's interesting.
It is. If it's based on true events, I almost feel like I would rather watch a documentary about these true events than this actual movie, because just watching sort of a dramatization of this, it just seems so like, it reminded me of that film that just came out this year with that heavyset woman where her son dies and it's like a Christian-based movie, a faith-based movie where she's like praying for her son. I'll have to look it up, but it just seems so like, the premise is so like
it's schmaltzy,
pulled from the clouds.
Like it could be a Lifetime movie almost.
So that is also what I wrote down. It feels like a Lifetime movie.
But that's what I also really appreciate about something that can be like the French. I do a very good job of elevating this kind of material.
Yes,
I think
so. The original I much prefer.
Yeah,
because it does take this premise that does make me want to roll my eyes and turns it into something with a lot of tension and depth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was very frustrated watching the original in a good way.
Yeah, I remember being
for this character,
very drawn into that version. And this one, it kind of felt like it was a little bit of a slog to sit through.
Also, in the original, they make her financial situation a little more
precarious.
Yeah. Where in this one, it seems like she's quite stable.
Yeah, she can skip work a whole lot, it seems like. Oh, and I didn't really appreciate the work drama felt very contrived in this. Like the women there, her supervisor, I gather, was just overboard with being cruel and saying things.
It just seemed unnecessary. This woman is already being tormented by the idea of her dead daughter being alive.
Right.
We don't need the additional drama. But.
So this was directed by Kim Farrant, whose first film I did like was 2015 Strangerland with Nicole Kidman, which that movie premiered at Sundance and I think received kind of middling reviews, but I remember quite liking that. And this isn't terrible by any means, but it's kind of an interesting step to remake this French film. But
yeah, I would recommend the original.
Mm-hmm.
I would give this film 2.5 out of 5 stars.
For Noomi's performance, I'll say 2.5 as well. When you put this together, I want you to look at the poster for Angel of Mine and then compare it. I couldn't stop thinking about this movie no one remembers called Simpatico from 1999 with Sharon Stone and Jeff Bridges and I think Nick Nolte. But the poster design for both of these films is exactly the same.
Okay, so I'll post those side by side.
Sorry, I was dying to talk about that.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, bye.
Bye.